Alright guys, so it's time to get that engine put back together. So first steps first, I bought a new piston for it, the finest from Rock Auto, and I bought a new rod for it, again from Rock Auto. Not sponsored by them, just telling you where I bought this stuff. But if they want to sponsor me, I'm okay with that too. So this is a pressed fit wrist pin. So the wrist pin has been in the freezer for a couple days, and we're going to torch the end of this rod to heat it up so we can get it through there. These rods are directional. So I paid close attention to that, and same thing with the piston, they're directional. So this one, little notch on there, so I know that goes to the front. So right now the next step is to heat this bad boy up, and then we will hopefully be able to slide it together somewhat easily. My workbench here is a mess because I'm working on that. I'm also working on my 57, trying to get this gear shift indicator to break loose. So I've been soaking it in WD-40 and slowly taking it apart more and more, hoping to get it loose. So anyways, I got crap everywhere, but thanks for watching. I appreciate that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this wrist pin real quick, and then we'll start torching so I can just slide that wrist pin right on in. So, straight from the freezer. Set that right there. Let's warm this bad boy up. Alright, it's starting to get a little bluing on there, so I'm assuming it's plenty hot. Set that in there. And for this guy, we get one shot at this. Oh yeah. Right there. And we're in. So there we go, yay. So pretty much just kind of centered it pretty darn close. And I put these little, well, you probably can't see it, but these little arrows to show which way it needs to go. But that's it, we're in. And that's how you do it. There is a another way. A buddy of mine, what he has, like one of those fancy electric coil deals that heat up, and he has one that you just set the end of the rod in, it gets a nice glowing red and does a really nice job too. But I ain't fancy like him, so All right, I'm gonna let that cool down, and then I have that piston actually came with a new set of rings as well. The other ones are fine. I mean, the old piston itself, I think it's fine. But I was talking to a buddy about this, and he was like, look, it hydraulic locked. He's like, there might be some microscopic cracks in here that you can't even see. So I thought, okay, well, that piston was like 40 or 50 bucks or something. I thought, well, cheap insurance, because I don't want to have to pull this whole engine back out. But anyways, this one came with new rings, and I already checked the gap on these compared to the old ones, and they're the same. So it's just a factory replacement, because this engine's like mint. It hasn't been bored or anything. So, and I'm not doing any boost or anything like that, so I'm not worried about the gap. I shouldn't have to worry about changing it. So I'm gonna let that cool down, get these rings on here. Now, I have a specific LS piston ring compressor deal, but I used it. It was for my LS3 that I built that used to be in the Chevelle, much bigger pistons, so it doesn't fit. So I found, where did I even put it? Like I said, I got crap everywhere right now. It's driving me nuts. I found this oil filter wrench, which gets it pretty darn close. I think this is going to work. I'm going to try it anyways. If not, I got to go to auto parts store and rent one. Okay, be back. All right, we're back. Time to put piston in the hole. So I got my rings all put on here. I got my ultra fancy, nothing but the best here at Red Goat Garage. Ring compressor. Got the bearing in there. I took a little bit of WD-40 and just lightly coated this. It's not good. Let's see if I can get this turned a little bit. Should be right about there. Keep this kind of tension. Just need 3 arms, that's all. Just three would work great. So pop this guy on in. Nope. That didn't work. I see. There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Let me reset. Be right back. Okay, I got the piston in there. My ring compressor, that was my oil filter wrench. It actually had some little nubs on the inside to help grip a slippery oil filter. So I had to grind those down smooth. Once I did that, boop, pop right in. Next step, I need to put the bearing back in there and torque this down. I have this stuff here, Royal Purple Max Tough, which I've used for a couple different engines and never had an issue, so we're going to use it for this. Now, these bearings have obviously been ran on this crank before, so there shouldn't be any like major interference or anything with it anyways, but just to be safe, I'm going to put a little on there. Figure it won't hurt anyways. So let's see. I'll put a little goop of this on here, kind of, at least that way it's first fire, it's not dry. The other exciting thing, besides all these parts showing up, is the comp cams showed up. So now, instead of just having a stock cam, which is all I was planning on doing, I called up Comp to kind of get their opinion, and next thing you know, there's a Comp box at my front door. And I'll show you the specs on all that later, but I basically told them that as a street car daily driver, I don't want some radical cam. I just want it to kind of have a lope. You know, it's supposed to be a gasser, it's supposed to kind of have like a pop, you know. So I told them that's what I wanted, and they said, we got you. Because they are asking like a bunch of questions, you know, like how are you using it? What, you know, RPM or is the engine going to see? Things like that to make sure I got the right one. So that was good. Because I have a comp cam in the Chevelle I've been super happy with. That one's a custom ground one even that I just called them and said, this is the engine, I have this Torque Storm supercharger, you know, what do you guys recommend? Again, my thing is always just like reliability and ease of running. Yeah. I am talking to myself. And I'm back. My wife came out to talk to me, and then my GoPro battery died. I'm gonna put this out here. GoPro sucks, man. Like, this is the 10 black. This thing sucks. The battery doesn't last for shit, even with everything turned off. And even then, if it has like if it gets like 30%, oh, we gotta turn off. Like, well, what's the point of it showing 30%? Shouldn't that be 0? Anyways, don't buy it. So these rod bolts, you torque, I did a Google search, so you torque them to 15 foot-pounds, and then you do an angle yield on it. And the website I found said there's a first design and a second design on these engines, and the first design you do yield to 60 degrees, and then the second design 75 degrees. I don't know which one this is, because this is like an O2 LS1. I'm gonna assume it's the second design, so I'm gonna go to like 70. The other thing I thought and I read was a bunch of guys were like, hey, you know, I just torque it down to like 45 to 48 foot-pounds, and that's it, because they're like, that's basically what that yield ends up being, and so I might just do that too. I don't know. But anyways, 15 first. Seems awfully tight for only 15. Oh, that's because I was waiting for it to click, and let's back this back off. Not very loud click when it's only 15. I can tell you right now though, these things were tighter than that. I'm trying to get them off. That's 15 on that one. On that one. So now we could either do the 60-degree deal or 75, whatever. I think I'm just going to torque it down to like 45. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this for 45, and then I'm going to try the angle thing at the same time and kind of see. It's 30. 40. We're gonna do like 46 46. Yeah, do like 46. So let's see here. So we need 60 or 70, 75. So if that's 90, that's straight up and down's 90. 75 be a little less than that. So just gonna kind of eyeball this a little bit. Let's see. Well, it didn't click. Just a little smidge more. Oh, look at that. Got the click. So that good old internet was true for once. That one clicking too. All right, hooray. Okay. So what did we learn here? Number one, the internet was actually right for once. Number two, don't buy a GoPro. Okay, so that's on. Good to go there. All back to normal or new. Hooray, hooray. I need to get the head on. I'm about to put the lifters back in because I had these out. Clean this off a little bit. I do, like I said, I do have a new camshaft, so let me show you that. And I kind of went a little overboard, maybe for this engine. I don't know, but whatever. So here's the camshaft. It is part number 54-457-11, 0.610 intake, 0.617 exhaust. The duration 223 intake, 231 exhaust, lobe separation 112. I think that's all the important numbers. So got that. So I think you guys know what a camshaft looks like. And I'll show you putting that guy in. I also picked up these guys, and I like these. So obviously the one big weak point that everybody seems to know about, or hopefully knows about, is the trunnions here on these LS engines. So like you can almost, yeah, I can see them. I don't know if you guys can, but those needle bearings, and they go, these things come apart eventually. Then again, like, you know, my truck out there has 200 and some odd thousand miles on it and stock. I think it's when you get into more like bigger lift, things like that, I get outside the factory realm is when you have issues. So these guys are already upgraded and they're all connected, so it just makes it stronger. This Chevelle that I'm using as a parts counter right now, I have these exact same things on there, and I think the lift is a little bit bigger than that, and it's been trouble-free for many miles. And then the other thing I went ahead and got, which we were talking back and forth, the comp guy, about valve springs, and he's like, well, how many miles are on the engine? I said, dude, this thing's like super low. Like it honestly is, like, I don't even know, it's got to be like 40,000 or 60,000. It's like mint inside. It's stupidly clean. I mean, look at this thing. But I went ahead and got new valve springs while I was at it. These are dual valve springs, and these are like the new retainers, valve seals, so the keepers, like there's a whole little kit, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and replace all that while I'm in there. But I'm just thinking, I mean, this head, I guess it'd actually be easier to do this when it's off, but I'm not too worried about that. So next step is going to be to get the lifters back in there, get the head back on there, and then I got to pull this guy off. And I already went to O'Reilly and I borrowed this guy, and this is the one that you need if you're doing a LS harness, or harmonic balancer, is the Chrysler harmonic pole 67005. This is the one that works on the LS engines. Well, this thing's beat to hell, but I guess it's a rental, so that makes sense. That one's the one that works on the LS engines, just in case you're wondering. Okay, it's enough for tonight. Be back for more fun and exciting adventures on this engine, and we'll get it together, and then we'll see what it sounds like. Stay tuned. All right, we're back to get this engine going. So I'm gonna try to get the head on here and the oil pan on here, but instead of boring you guys to death with some pretty basic stuff that you've probably seen before, even though this was probably included, I'm just gonna set the camera up, let it roll, and you guys can watch. And there's a good chance I'll step away from the camera and come back because I get called inside a lot with the kids. So, I mean, this is all, I got a new oil pan for it. I bought it off of Amazon, so it's like a no-name brand one, but it looks just like the Holley one. I don't know. I'm gonna try it and see, because I was curious. Get the head put on, and, you know, Velcro gaskets. Man, I got a mess in here. So I have all new head bolts as well, somewhere in the box of parts here. I don't remember where they are. I have new head bolts because you have to use new head bolts with the LS. Somewhere I have new head bolts. Where did they go? There's a new distributor cap and rotor, new plugs for that, my 57. Here's my brass hammer I was looking for. And my bolts. Alright, so it's kind of a cloudy day. It's supposed to be sunny later, but right now it's kind of dreary. So I think I'm just going to put on some music and get this stuff going, so that way I can get my bench cleaned up somewhat and the rest of my garage. I really want to get this put back together. One, I want to hear it run, but two, I'd like to get some space cleaned up in my garage. I mean, I got crap everywhere, so that way I can get my Chevelle out again and drive it at some point. So let's do this. Okay, GoPro died because apparently it got below 90% battery or some bullshit, I don't know. All you really missed was me finishing torquing these head bolts. So head's back on. In theory I could slap this all back together, put it back in the car, but we got to get this off and put in that nice comp cams over there. So oil pan seems fine. I ended up reusing some of the stuff from the Holly pan, like the pickup tube and stuff, because I don't know, this just seemed chintzy to me with this like plating on there. Maybe it's even better, I don't know. But I kind of was reading reviews about it, and they said like the O-ring on this one, it's not as good, so I reused it. So I got that all on. This is on. Basically you're torquing all these bolts to 22 foot-pounds, and then you torque them 90 degrees, and then you torque them another 90 degrees. So if you look and see, like all of them have, I put a pencil mark on all of them. So that would make it pretty easy, because they do have fancy torque wrenches that will actually calculate how far you've turned it, which I used before, like on my Chevelle, but I don't have one of those. I was borrowing somebody's. So the pencil mark worked pretty darn good, because all I did was, you know, turn it to where I guessed was right about 90 degrees and look, and you could visually see. So obviously the first time it would point, you know, horizontally, and then rotate another 90 degrees and everything's vertically. So that worked out pretty good. So right now it's about time for my lunch union break. So I'm going to tackle this later tonight, or maybe even tomorrow at this point. So I got to get some other stuff done, but got to get that old cam out there so we can get this new one in, get these rockers put on, all this good stuff. So pretty exciting to finally see this going back together, because it's been sitting like this for almost 2 months now, because I've been busy with doing other stuff. So I'm happy to get this back together, get it back in there, clean up my garage, because as you can see, it is a disaster. All right, stay tuned. All right, so now we're going to pull the cam out, and I picked these guys up a couple years ago, and pretty trick little tool that Comp actually makes. And what you do is you slide them in these oil passages here, and they'll hold the lifters up while you swap them the cam so they can't fall in. So let me show you how this works. If I can get the camera to not move. Good enough. First you gotta spin the cam, push all them lifters up. Slide this guy in. Like that, and then your lifters can't fall down while you have your cam out. Pretty slick little thing. So then let's go ahead and pull the cam out. Not beating up our cam bearings too bad. There we go. So here's the factory LS1 cam. All right, moving on. Okay, time to install the new camshaft. So if you remember here, so we can get it in the shot, it is a part number 54-457-11. It's for the LS1. 0.61 intake, 0.617 exhaust. Duration 223 intake, 231 exhaust. Lobe separation 1112. All those people that love all the nitty-gritty numbers, there you go. So this is an off-the-shelf comp cam. This isn't anything special ground or anything, which they can do too. So if you have some special project, they can grind you, like my Chevelle, which you can't see, but it's right here. They custom ground that cam for that engine application because I kind of had the Torque Storm supercharger on there and all that stuff. But anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to slide this bad boy on in. But first, I'm going to use this Max Tough from Royal Purple. I don't know. I've used it in the past, never quite had any issues, so we're going to get it lubed up nice and good. I kind of feel like more is better in this case. This stuff's like sticky, kind of. Like it's lube, but it's sticky, so it'll stay on there while we get this thing started up. So we're going to do that half, and we'll gently slide this guy in its new home. Stop here for a second so I can take a picture. And add some more lube to it. Let's get this on here. I gotta admit, I'm pretty excited to get a cam in here. I didn't want to do a cam because I didn't want to mess with the engine or anything like that, because it's such just a perfect running engine. But then I had a little issue, so I had to pull the engine anyways. So it was the perfect time to upgrade this guy. So that's good. And I don't have the fancy cam holding tool. This will be a little interesting. And I guess I could let me put the bolts from the old cam in there. At least that'll give me a little something to hold on to. Let's see if we can get this guy on in here. Just like that. A piece of hair or something there. So there's our new cam, which also means we can take these guys back out. And now our lifters can slide down, no problem. So now it's just a matter of reassembling all this, which you saw me undo it all. So I don't really need to. I'm not doing any fancy degreeing or whatever of the camshaft. I just line the dots up and that's it. I don't do any of that fancy degreeing stuff. I don't know. We're just gonna slap her in and go. So let's see here. So here's this little retainer plate. that. Now this guy gotta go on. Gotta rotate it just like that. Okay. Everything all lined up here. Okay, so off there, go around, still off there, around. That is pretty much dead on there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so a dot there line up, there, tighten this back down. All right. New camshaft is in. So my next step is to replace valve springs and the seals, not even though I don't think they're leaking, but the seals, all that. And I have this really fancy tool, again, that I picked up from Comp the last time I did a cam swap, that mounts here, pushes down too, so you can do 2 valves at a time. I just don't know where I put it, so I have to dig through my toolboxes and find it. Or maybe it mounts here. I can't remember. It mounts somehow, but I just can't remember where I put the darn thing. So I'm going to go dig around and find that, and then I can start replacing all those. All right, let me go dig. All right, so here is the valve spring kit that I picked up from Comp to go with the new cam. So this one is their part number 26926TS-kit, dual valve spring LS type. And this is a whole little kit that comes, so here's the valve springs. It's a dual set, so yeah, interesting there. And just to kind of show you guys what it looks like. So it's obviously the dual springs there, a whole set of those, a whole set of seats, and then the retainers, an awesome sticker, because who doesn't love stickers, the little retainers, and it actually even comes with new valve seals as well. Now, I don't think my valve seals are bad at all, but since I got brand new ones, I'm going to put them on there. So that's going to be the next thing. And I found my handy dandy, this is from Comp also, from when I did my dad's engine, and I'll show you how this works. I like this one because a lot of the other ones I've seen, you can only do 1 valve at a time, and this one allows you to do 2. So this one's pretty slick. So I'm not going to undo it completely, but you got to have your, whatever the hell this thing is, little retainer guy. This guy just sits on there. It's actually curved to fit in that little seat. So you just screw this down. And I'm just doing it hand tight, but you could crank her down, I guess, if you wanted. Then there's this guy that just sits on top of both, just like that. And then there's this special bolt, because it has just kind of like a ball bearing at the end of it. And you just set this on here, set this guy, and it'll pop into place the more you tighten it. But that's it. I mean, you just, and it'll push it down and everything. I got to put some air in here, so I got my air compressor over there. Fill the cylinder, put the cylinder all the way, the piston all the way at the top of the cylinder, and then I fill it with air. Do that and just work my way around. So I'll show you one of them, and then I'll probably just do a time lapse for the rest. But pretty simple. It helps to have a little magnet like this guy to pull those retainers out when they become loose. But it's really pretty damn simple. It just takes a little bit of time. So let me get all set up and we'll start on this. All right, you ready to make your valve train look like this? What? All right, let's do it. So here is driver's side that has not been done. So let's show you how it's done. So first, you're gonna need the little, I don't know what the heck these things are called, rocker, whatever, brace. Let's set that on there. Then we'll get our handy dandy tool from Comp. So let's do this one first. And it comes with 2 sets of bolts. Use the longer set. Don't ask me how I know. All right, there we go. We'll tighten these guys down. Tighten them down. Then take our tool, and this thing goes both ways. You can like go this way on stock, but it goes this way if you've got oversized springs. But we'll just do this, whatever. Doesn't really make a difference. Just like that. Oh, before I do this, I need to make sure that cylinder is at top dead center. So let's do that. Okay, so it's at top dead center. That way our valves can't fall into the cylinder. And I always like to check just to make sure. So we'll grab a screwdriver, stick it in the hole. Yep, and I can feel the pistons right there. Okay, so now that's done, work on this. So first we'll tighten down this guy a bit. And sometimes they're like the little retainers kind of get stuck, and I give them a little light tap with the hammer and they'll pop right out. But let me show you what this looks like. Get in for the close-up shot. Hopefully it's not blurry. There's a little retainer right there. And this one here. So that's all 4 of them. It's 2 per valve. Set these off to the side. And then back this back off. All the way back off. And the stock spring and seat come right off, like so. Let's sop up some of this. It's like there's a little bit of dirty oil down there. Looks like got some water in it from me messing around. But sop that up a little bit. All right, now we're going to take a pair of pliers. Where did I put the pliers at? Oh, these guys here. And we're going to pull the seat, which also is the valve stem seal as well. It's all like a all-in-one deal on this engine. Pull them off. And now to do it in reverse. So first, here's our new seats from Comp. Put those in there. So there's that. Sop up some of this again. And then we have our new seals, and I take a little bit of this oil. I've been kind of put a little bit on the seal just to help it slide over better. Let's slide this over. Slide this over. Now I have figured out a very special tool, just so you guys can see what I'm at right now. So there's a valve seal in the seats. I figured out a very special tool here. It is a 1/4 inch drive 7/16 deep socket, and I'm going to set that right on top. And push it on down. That fits absolutely perfect. Apparently there's a tornado siren. That's probably a test thing. Okay, so they got those. Kind of pull the valves back up. Then we're going to take our new springs, shut them on there, and our new retainers. And these are stepped, so you got to make sure you get the step part in there to hold it all together. Then take this guy, put it back on here, and kind of got to keep this centered a little bit to where those retainers don't push your valves down and everything. And if we're real lucky, I'll get this on the first shot. Tap this up a little bit. Just trying to move the spring around a bit to keep it centered. Let's go down a little bit more. Still up. So originally I told you guys that I put air in the cylinders. I quickly figured out that I can't supply enough air to keep the valve up, and it doesn't really fall down anyways. The piston's in the way. The new seal's on there, it doesn't slide down. So next is to put the new retainers in. These are tapered, so it's thicker at the top, narrow at the bottom. So make sure you do that correctly. Kind of hold this here, and I'm going to push the valve down just a little bit so it starts to get in that retainer. And this one's still off center just a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get these retainers on. And I'm going to push this up a smidge and let that valve drop just a little bit. So let me show you what this looks like. So now the retainers are on the end of the valve, and I let them fall just a little bit to where they're kind of started to get inside the retainer here, or I'm sorry, this top retainer. So then that should be the first try. I'm going to take this and back it off. And just make sure that the little retainers are sitting properly. This goes all the way back off. And our last step, put this back off. And that's it. It's not too terribly bad. Just got to kind of pay attention. Obviously, I've gotten the hang of this a little bit too because I did this side already. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and then this guy is really simple. These are awesome because they're already upgraded rockers and all that, and then with this like bar going through, so everything's square and strong. So this is definitely a massive upgrade for my valve train system. But this is just pretty much set on. I haven't torqued any of these down yet, so I'll do that, but I'll show you guys that. But I'm going to do these, and then we'll show you laying everything in there. All right, just about done here. So we got the other side all done. Got the rocker arms all on that side, but I need to torque these things down. So looking it up, it says that these get torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. So I'm kind of at about 15 on my wrench right here because I kind of wanted to do this in steps. I mean, 22 is still not very much. Actually, I think what I'm going to do here first is, where did I put it? Heard it. I'm going to run these down a little bit first. Okay. Run these down a little bit. Now that we did that, let's and I don't really know if there's a specific sequence to this, so I'm just going to go from the outside in. I'm sorry, inside out. I don't know if I mentioned this at all. I'm hoping I did. But this engine here, bone stock LS1, had some issues with it. Rebuilt it. Not rebuilt it, we fixed it. And it's going in this 55 right here, that's right here behind me. That's going to be a gasser. So I already got the straight axle underneath the front. And I got to do some work on the rear to get that going. So that's the plans with this engine and this car. So when I called Comp to order up this camshaft, I just told him, I said, I want something that has a good lope, but I've always been more about reliability and being able to daily drive it. So the plan is to daily drive this gasser. As crazy as that sounds, but it has LS, it'll have vintage air, disc brakes all the way around. I don't see why I can't. So right now I'm doing about 15 foot-pounds, just to kind of do it in a sequence, I guess. It just seems like the right thing to do. So now we're going to go up to 22 foot-pounds. It gets a little tiny turn out of there. Not very much. I did this one already, but we'll just double check. Yeah. All right. So there it is, all nice, pretty, sexy. Massive upgrade to the valve train system. So got the nice camshaft in there. New valve springs, dual valve springs, new rocker arms with this shaft in there. So now I just have to assemble the engine and stuff it back in there. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. If like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability. And I will post a video of this thing idling with this new camshaft. And I'm pretty sure, I got to dig in my phone, that I have a video of it idling with the stock camshaft from a couple years ago. So I'm going to dig that out, and hopefully I can... its audio is good enough on it to splice it in, and we can kind of have like a before and after of how this thing sounds. So if you're looking at this camshaft and you want to know what it sounds like, hit subscribe and watch for that video to drop. But it might be a month or so. I don't know. Depends on how much free time I get to put this thing all back together. So thanks again. See you in the next video.